Hey everybody, welcome to a brand new tutorial on our Filemaker series. I'm in Mama and we're doing the restaurants and cafe version. So today we're just going to explore a few things today. It's going to be a relatively short video, but what we're looking to do today is we're looking to discuss the options and maybe write some script, excuse me, as to how do we now transfer, how do we get our individual to be able to order a product? I mean, how are we going to make this work effectively for what we want it to do? Well, one of the first things that I had was a customer had communicated to me, or an individual had communicated to me that maybe there was an issue with, let's say someone accidentally pushed the button. Their thumb was on it or their hand, and they accidentally pushed a button. And what do you do about that? Because there's going to be a lot of that kind of thing happening, right? With a system like this. Well, there is one really effective way of actually doing that, and I really want to just kind of dive in and show you guys how to do that. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into our edit layout mode. And we're going to come over here and you'll see it says, do you want a button or a popover button? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a popover button, and we want it to be the exact size of this button. So, and what we want that button to say basically is order item. So we'll call it order item, and we're going to get rid of this popover, what it says popover there, because we like our stuff. You guys just know we like our stuff to be really super cool looking. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move that over here, and then we're going to bring up our inspector, because what we're looking for is in our position. We want to look here, and it says we're at 160 by 40 in this top side. So in order to maintain it perfectly, we're going to go to this, and we see it's also 160 by 40. So we're going to take this one, and we will just basically move it up and out of the way. And I'm just going up with my directional keys because I want it to be in the exact position where the other one was. So if I line it up perfectly, just like that, now it is actually in the same position. But it is a little bit high, so we'll go down just a little bit. And now I'm going to grab this order item button. I'm going to move it way the heck over here. And then I'm going to double click on this order item, and you can see inside here it will ask you, do you want your popover? And I know you guys can't really see it that well, but it's going to say, do you want your popover to be on the left side, the right side, above it, or below it? And we want it to be off on the left side. We want it to kind of go to the left over there. And then we can set script triggers and do all that other neat stuff and you know, whatever. But we just want it blank right now. And then we're going to go into our appearance. And one of the cool things about this is you can change the appearance of this bubble. So if you want it to be red or yellow, or you select a different color, you want it to be a green outline, or whatever the case might be, I find that by putting a lighter color outline on it, something that just really pops and stands out, it really brings that into focus. Now you can also get rid of it if you want to and have no color on it, and then just make like the line really bright colored. So if you wanted to, you could select this as no fill, and then on the line, you could select the line as a very bright yellow line, and we can make it larger. So it's like a 2, and that really makes it bring it out too, but without being so overwhelming, if that makes sense, because we don't really want it to be overwhelming in its size. So we're going to take our order item button, and we're going to put it right inside of this, and we'll put it right dead in the center, and we'll put it either at the top or at the bottom. Either makes sense, whatever you decide that you really want to do. And then we're going to add something to this. We're going to tell them, please confirm this, or whatever the case is. So just simple. It's the script or the text is 100% up to you what you want it to say. But I'm just going to say, please confirm this item or no, please confirm your selection. That's what I'll do. Your selection. That just sounds better, right? Just sounds better. Now if I click off of it, I can now come up into here and I can change the size, make it larger, which is kind of what I really want to do. And I can make it a nice bright yellow or red color or whatever color that I really want. I like this, this kind of maybe that's too dark. Let's get it a little bit, just kind of a little lighter color. And I also want to change it from Arial to a Bookman Old style because I think Bookman is just, it's cleaner. It's a cleaner text. It just really looks good. And we'll move this onto our piece here. Now you can see it's not going to fit. And if we were to actually get out of this and then try to get into it, so if we close, we exit the layout and we press this button, it's right on the edges. So it did actually come in. Normally, if it's too big, it will not fit. So you have to make sure that you're actually getting it to fit. So we'll go ahead and we'll reopen this. And what we want to do with this is it'll say, please confirm your selection. But I think that the size is just a little bit too big. So we're going to take it down to 14. And we're going to put it right at the very top, and we're going to put it right dead in the center. Let's see. Get it in the center. Come on, you. Now, if your line is too long, you know, if what you wanted to say is too much, you're always welcome to take your text like this. I can double click here, and I can press Enter button, and then delete so that I get rid of that space. I can center it, and then I can make it bigger, any size that I want. Oh, wait, gotta click off of it. Now I can make it bigger. So I can make it now to 18. If I double click, I can highlight the S as you noticed, and I can capitalize it, whatever the case might be. And now I can put it here in the center, and now it just says, please confirm your selection. Now the cool thing about this is that it gives that person one extra layer. So you actually have to press the order item and then order item. Now, how do you get out of it? Well, there's two ways to get out of it. One is you can just touch anywhere else on the screen, anywhere else on your tablet, and you can get out of this. It'll just close it. And I can show you that real quick. So if we exit the layout and we click on it and it comes up, we can click anywhere else and it will automatically close it. Or if you have an issue where you believe that the customer may not really fully understand, what we can do is we'll go back into Edit Layout. We'll double click on our order. And we're just going to grab this button, hold the control, and come down with it. And then we'll double click on this button, and instead of saying order item, we'll say cancel or negative or whatever. And we actually do want it to do a single step. So we'll just say perform a single step. And that single step is I'm going to click in the white area here and I'm going to type C. And that'll give me a bunch of C's. Well, we just want it to close the popover. That's all we want it to do. Close the popover. And we'll call that good. Now what we can do with this button is we can make it fit exactly how we want it to be. And I like this. I like the way that looks. That looks pretty good. But the cancel button just isn't really popping for me. It's just really not saying cancel this. So I'm probably going to make some changes. So if I go into my inspector and I go into this view, I can make changes to this. Like I can bring in a purplish color, which would very much change, as you just saw, it will very much change the look and the appearance of how this goes. And we can do this confirm button, and we can do it in a very greenish color. So now they're both very, very much different from each other. One of them is order and the other is cancel. Now if you're going to do this, do make sure that you change your font and the size, because we want that to be a beautiful font. We want it to be large enough that people can see it. I wish there was a 16, but there's not. So this one we will make 18, and we will change it to my favorite is Bookman Old Style, but Garramonde is actually a really super crisp one as well. So we can make sure that now that you've got it set where you want it, like if you wanted to add a red instead of a purple, you could do that. So green and red, yes and no, and like go and stop kind of thing. That's things that people normally would associate. But I want to keep this really, really unique and pretty. I want it to be a very pretty item, so that when we are just going into our layout and someone clicks this button, we have this really pretty thing that comes up. Now they can either order the item from here or they can select it. I would say this one I probably would have had please confirm and then selection on the bottom, or complete, because this is just too square for me. I don't like the way that looks. So I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna go ahead and change that. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it, and then I'm going to come over here to where this is, and I'm going to just press the delete button, and then a space button, and then I'm going to go to the end of the press the enter button, and then the delete button so that I can remove that. Now if I click off of it, I can go to center everything, put it right back dead in the center, and now it looks. Did you think that looks a little bit better, guys? Don't you guys think that looks just a little bit better, the way that it looks? So now when we go in here and we come in, we can see how pretty that looks, how nice and crisp and clean and very visually appealing. So what we're going to do with this is we want to take this button now, and we want to be able to duplicate that button. So how do we duplicate that button? Pretty simple. All we're going to do is in our edit mode, we're going to delete this button, and we're going to take this button, hold the control button, and just move it down. And now we have successfully duplicated it. We can do that with all of them. So every single one that we do. And even if we did put in a, like I can grab this button and do Control C, and then I can go to, I can exit the layout. I can go into our lunch foods. I can exit or edit the layout again. Click anywhere and Control V, and it's now on this page too. So just basically brought it from page to page. So I can delete this one, bring this over, put it in exactly right where I want it to be. And so that way if I exit my layout and I click on this button, there it is. And if I press the cancel button, as you see, it'll close the script immediately. It'll close it. So it'll just turn it off. But let's say now that I actually want to order this food. I mean, I'm kind of hungry. I kind of want to order this food, and I want to push this order button, but it's not working. Well, we need to be able to, in today's episode, we're going to do a lot about having this material go to our invoice or go to our sale part. So if we go into our order invoice is what we're calling it, the order invoice. Now I haven't dressed this up. I haven't done a lot to dress it up and make it pretty yet, but we did put this little X on there which can remove an item from it. And so what we're going to do now is we do know that we have the product name, the product code, the item price total, and a quantity. So that's kind of a big thing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and we're going to start creating a script for our button. So let's just go back to our menu 1 and to Mama instead of Mama 1, because that's the one that we were on. And if we double click on our order item and we click on our order item new button, we can then do a button setup. And we're going to tell it to perform a script. And we're going to need to create a script. And this script, what we're going to call this script is, we're going to call it the, I tend to call these particular scripts masters. So because a master script is one that you use on various different buttons. So you can use a master script for a lot of different things. Like each one of our items on the menu will have a master script. And we don't want to duplicate that like a bazillion times. So we want to just do it once and use it for a bunch of different things. So I call them master scripts. So for this one, I'm going to call it master underscore and then menu and the letter 1 or the numeral 1. So I know where it is, what it is, and why it is. Now, I am going to, the very first thing I'm going to tell it to do is nothing. we're just gonna say, actually what we should do is we should just, let's just put a quick set a variable, and the variable that we want is going to be the product. So you can do either product or product code or whatever you want to. Currently right now we're just going to call it product, or product ID would be just fine, and we're going to specify what we want it to do. Now we're going to tell it what we want it to do. But what we really want it to do is we want it to get a script. Where is it? Get, application, get. There's a lot of gets, let me tell you. So we're going to tell it to get a script parameter. And we'll call it OK. So if we set the variable as a script parameter, is it going to follow us? Well, I'm going to tell you right now that I have had issues with this actually not working. And so we do need to add, let's just call that OK. We do need to add one thing in here. So let's go in and manage our database. And we're on this, the main menu one. So the thing that I want to put in here is I want to put in the product code. So I'm just going to write product and then code. Oh, I do have a product code. What in the heck is that? Delete. Okay, where is my product code? I should have put it in here. Field picker, product code. And we're going to make this product code completely invisible. So, because we don't, all we need is the product. We need it to be able to put that to set a field is what we need to do. So this works the best for us. All right, sorry, I was just looking at a different screen and I was questioning what was on that different screen. So in this case, we're going to want to go into our inspector and we click on this and we want it to be none, no line, no fill color. And when we get to our box here, the color of our script, we can do no color or we can just pick a dark color because it doesn't really matter. You're not really ever going to see it. It's a very quick thing that happens, but it has to be, and we do want to make sure that it's also not available in browse mode. That's kind of a big thing too. So in data, not available in browse mode. Okay, now let's go back to our script. So if we manage our scripts, we've only got 2. So the master menu, we're going to get rid of this really quick. We just put it in there because we wanted to. So we're going to tell it to set a field. And the field that we want it to set is the product code. And the calculated result is going to be get script parameter. So we're going to come all the way back down here and we're going to find our get script parameter. And we'll call it OK. Now this works beautifully in the sense that I just controlled S to save it. Because what it does, I've found that trying to set a variable from, saying setting the variable get script parameter, it works half the time, but not all the time. So there's always going to be that little bit of an issue in between those things. So the best thing to do is have that field and then just set the field as the script parameter and then set your variable. So at that point we can now set a variable, and that variable is going to be our, we can call it the code, and this, And what it's gonna be is the product code. Now what we can do is we can tell it to go to, we've got to freeze the window. That's kind of a big thing. So let's freeze the window because we don't want it to go, we don't want people to see what's going on, right? We want it to just go to where we want it to go. So from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to tell it to go to a layout. And the layout that we want it to go to is going to be our inventory for this particular one. So the inventory layout. We will enter the find mode. It's pretty simple. Enter find mode. We don't need it to pause. And then we're going to tell it to set a field. And the field is going to be under our, it's under sales. I don't know why I called it sales, but it's going to be the product ID number. And the calculated result is going to be $code. Because remember, we set that as a variable. And then we want to we want the error capture, and we want it to be on. The reason why we set the error capture is because if there was a mistake or something happened and we didn't type the number in exactly correctly or whatever the case might be, then we don't want it to stop on our inventory. We don't want to give anybody access to that page. So we're just saying, if you can't find it, don't worry about it. Just go back. Just continue on with the script. So that's kind of a big deal. So we'll set the error capture on. And then the next thing that we need to do is we need to perform the find, right? So we'll perform the find, and then at this point now we now have the product, and it's the only thing on the line. So we need to set the fields. We need the fields that we need to set, or I'm so sorry, that's not what I mean. We need to start setting variables. And there should be a couple of variables. So the very first variable that we need is going to be the product name. So you can do, I like to just do prod name, or you know what, never mind, just do name. Name will be the simplest, easiest one to do. And it is in our, under sales, and it'll be product name. Okay. Then we're going to set another variable. And that variable is going to be the price. And that is going to be under our sales window, sales. And it's going to be the value. We'll say OK. Now, under the thing that I was doing before, we would actually select, we would change the quantity. But we're not going to do that at this time. We're just going to keep track of what we're doing, and we'll do that on the post production. We'll do that on the post side of this instead of trying to bring it in now. I think it would be better. Because if you want to track every single sale that you did for the day, this might be the better way to do it, the way that I'm showing you now, versus the way that I had planned, which was to do it as each sale was happening, kind of, so to speak. So just stay tuned, and we'll figure it out, and you guys will be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's probably a better thing to do anyway, because we don't want to know like all of the ones that canceled or didn't pay or didn't, what we want to know is, at the end of the day, what did we bank? What did we make money on? What happened? So we now set variables, and those variables are our product name and the value or the price of the product. At this time, we can basically go to our invoicing solution, right? So we would go to our layout, and because we didn't want to make any changes on that inventory page, there was no changes that we wanted to make. Now you can go back to show all records if you want to, but it's not necessary. So we'll go to layout, and the layout that we want to go to is going to be our order invoice layout, right? And then from here, what we need to do is we need to either make sure that we could have set, I'm thinking forwards and backwards at the exact same time. So I'm thinking, should we have set our our number, remember that we did, if you guys remember correctly, one of the things that we did do is we got an invoice lock and we put it up here. And that invoice lock is to make sure that everything is set. So maybe what we should do is we should come up here and we should set a variable as the invoice lock. So I think that that would probably be a good idea. So let's come up here, let's set a variable. And that variable will be, let's just do lock, because I like 4-letter words when you're doing this kind of stuff. And we'll just set that variable as the invoice lock. And now when we go to our layout for our invoice number, we can actually set our invoice lock on that invoice order form. We can set it in there and then compare the two. And we can say if it's not the same, then we need to, then we need to do something, right? So the very first thing that we'll do is let's set the field. And this field is, oh, wait, Tim, what are you doing? I do want to do the invoice lock, so let's do that really fast. But here, once we set the variable, the product code, we need to clear that field. So we need to set a field. I so apologize for that. I so was not thinking, but we need to set that product code to just parentheses. So hopefully you guys caught that and saw that and was like, hey, what the heck is going on? What Tim missed that. Tim never misses that stuff. He's always like right on the thing with the ifs and the ors and the all that other neat stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and Control S, save it while I'm doing this. But so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set the product code as get the script parameter. So it'll instantaneously do that. And I'm going to show you guys how that works. It works so well. It's amazing how that works. We're going to set some variables. We're going to clear out that code field. We're going to go to our inventory. We're going to find that product. That's what we're looking for. We're going to find the product so we know how much it is, what's the price, and the name. And that's the big thing. Then we're going to perform that find. We're going to go to our order invoice. We're going to set our invoice lock. Now is where we're going to get into that if field. So if, and we're going to say if the, I think it's under order, if invoice lock is not equal to invoice number, so if they're not equal to each other, then we need to start a new record, right? We need to create a new record. Or we need to find out what happened to the other record. Or, well, because if we start a new record, if it just didn't match, that doesn't make any sense why it wouldn't match. Oh, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking out loud, and you guys happen to be in the same room as me while I'm thinking out loud. But so if the two numbers are not the same, then we should probably perform the find. We should perform a find. So let's enter find mode. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this the long way because I think that this is probably the best solution, and we don't need it to pause. And we will set a we'll set a variable. So enter find mode. We will actually, let's do this. After this, let's actually we still have a variable, so let's just enter find mode. We'll set the field, and the target field that we're looking for is going to be under order the invoice number, and it's going to be our, what did we call it? Set variable code, nope. Set variable lock. So it'll be $lock. And then from here we can tell it to set error capture. So let's set the error capture. You guys know all this stuff. Set the error. It's pretty redundant. Very typical that that's how you have to do it. So you want to set the error capture on, and then we want to perform the find. And I will show you guys how to. You have to initiate these things. These things have to be initiated, and then after they're initiated, everything else falls into place. So like in the very beginning, when you like if I was to push this button right now, it would go there. It'd be like, there's no number, so we're looking for no number, and it would really mess with the system. So we have to create a scenario where that number does exist. If that makes any sense. So don't worry about it. I'll show you how to do that easily before the end of this. So if the invoice lock number, if they're not the same, then we're going to enter the find mode. We're going to set that number as the lock, set the error capture, perform the find. Now that we have that information, we're on the right one. So here we've set the field invoice lock, and then we said, now if they're not the same. Now at this point we can actually get rid of the invoice lock number. We don't need it in that field anymore if we've already searched and those two numbers are the same. So let's go ahead and we'll set the field, and that field will be our invoice under order, the invoice lock, and the calculated result will be, we're just clearing it. So we're just going to put in the parentheses. And then from this point, now we've got to where we need to be. So we need to go to our portal row, and we need to put the information that we have, right? So let's do go to portal row. And we want to go to the portal row first. That's fine. And then we need to, because we're going to commit the data later. So don't worry about that. We'll commit the data as we go through here. But let's go to the portal row first. And then we need to set fields in there. And those fields, there's 3 of them. So the field, we can just go ahead and double click all 3 of these. We can set the field, specify, and this is going to be under the invoice. So the invoice, what we're going to do is we're going to set the product name. And the calculated result is, if we look up here, we can see where we did it. So it's $name. It's pretty simple, right? So this one is $name. And we'll call it good. And then this one, we have to have the product ID number. So we can either set that field, we still have it, it's right up here, we set the variable as the code. So we can just say, specify this field as, I don't know what I'm doing, but go to invoice. And this is going to be the product code. And the calculated result is going to be, as you see up here, $code. $code. As long as you're still using the same variable, you can use it several times as long as it's in the same script and you don't go off of script. So if you have an if and it runs on that branch, you can't use it on this branch. So if it splits, then you have to make sure that you reassign that so that you can carry it down both branches or whichever branch you're going. But in this branch, or in this scenario, there are no branches. It's pretty well straightforward. So we've now set our field name. Now we have to set the price. That's kind of the big deal. So on our invoice, we need to item price. And that is going to be $price, or I think that's what I did, $price, yes, P-R-I-C-E. But we're still missing data, and that data is set a field, and that field is going to be under the invoice. It's going to be the quantity and we're going to specify that it's going to be 1. How hard was that? You want 1 of them. We have to have that for all of our calculations to work. So we have to put in 1. I mean, it has to be 1, right? Now at this point, you can commit your records, And let's see, we can skip that or perform without dialogue. That would be good. And then we can just go back to the main menu, because that's kind of what we want to do. Go back to our original layout. So go to layout original and then halt script. Now let's see, let's control S this. Let's see what happens when we do this. We've put it there. Let's close it down. But what I want to do really quick is let's go to our menu one. I said I would show you guys how to do this, so this is what we're going to do. And here we have a number. And you can see what this invoice number was like. If you exit the layout, it's 1 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. Now, we can either put a button on this page and then select this data and go back and fill it in, or we can go to, which is fine, because we do need to be able to do that. We do need to be able to complete that. But for my cases, what I want to do now is I would rather just go ahead and put the number in there manually. So if I go to Mama and I click on this, I can say, I don't know why that number appeared in there, but I can now put 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I've got 8, and I can edit my layout, and this number, I can make it not available in browse mode. Although I really do have to wonder what the deal is with this. This one said 1,000, which is kind of weird. Do you guys remember what the spaghetti was? Let's go in and find out what the spaghetti was. So if we go into our inventory, the meatball platter the number was 1,000. So that's absolutely correct. Let's go back to Mama, and we will edit our layout, and we'll double click this. And on this one, we want to double click it, and where it says menu, master menu 1, click this little double scroll thingy on the side, and right here we want to put 1,000, because this is our script parameter, and we can say OK. And now if we exit the layout and we order this item, we go here and we press this button, we should have created data and put that data on our sale. But we don't have the See Me button, so let's go do that really quick. We'll just tell this to perform a single step, and this step that we're going to tell it to do is go to a layout, and the layout that we want to go to is our order invoice. We'll just say OK. Now we can change that later, but for the purposes of right here, right now, this is what we're doing. And if we exit the layout and we go to see my order, it should have the data here. Now if it has a question mark in it, it has a question mark in it for a reason. Something didn't work the way it's supposed to. So let's go here, edit the layout. Let's find out what the deal is with this little button. We'll go into our inspector. We will find out it's general formatting, so that should be fine. Not available in browse mode. It's invoice product code. This one, I don't know why I closed it down. This one should be, instead of that, it should be currency. Fixed number of decimals. System settings. This one should also be currency. Fixed number of decimals. System settings. Actually, all of these should be currency. And I think that's one of the reasons why it was kind of messed up and kind of not working the way it's supposed to. But it's not hard to do. As you guys can see, I'm doing them all just while I'm sitting here with you guys. Oop. Wrong. Don't do that. Currency, fixed number of decimals, and system settings. There we go. Now if we exit the layout, we should see this. Meatball platter 1, and then there's some numbers here. This is the rate at which you are taxing. So this is the total amount. So the total amount on $39.95 is $2 if it's 5% tax. But this is, it's not doing this because, what did we have the grand total do? This product code, I don't know. Sometimes your product codes will just be like weirdo if it's not long enough. Yeah, so if it's not long enough, then your product code will create like a question. Like this one, it could just be that it's just not long enough. And if we exit layout, now it's big enough that it works. But you can change the buffers on these as well. So if you edit the layout and you come into this one and you go into our separator, or our inspector, excuse me. And if you go into the, I think it's appearance. Yeah, it's the appearance. So in the appearance, you'll see it'll have a left and right buffer. And those are huge. At 36, you can do 0 and 0 on that one. And I personally myself do 0 on all of them. So just go ahead and set them all at 0. Hold on just a minute. I have to take this. Dear, I'm on video. All right, thanks. And that was my wife, guys, just so you know. Otherwise, I would never answer my phone while I'm on video. But if it's my wife, I pretty much have to answer that. Okay. So here we've zeroed them out. We're zeroing out all of these. And the reason why we're doing it is because, that was wrong. You have to push in 0. Do not push in nothing. Do not just push the delete button. And this product code one, it was at 12. So we'll just push zeros. We'll zero those out really fast. And now if we take this number, we can actually reduce it down. So if we exit the layout, see how we've actually started to get it smaller? And it's actually starting to fit now. So now we can actually take this. We can make it a little bit smaller, make it the same size as everything else. Will it fit? It fits. Ta-da-ta-ta. Beautiful. Now we have some information. Now we do need to decorate this. We do need to make it much prettier. And we need to make a button. How do you get out of this? Oh my goodness, we're stuck. What do we do? Let's create a button. Let's just create a really quick button. So if we enter the layout mode, we're going to just go in and we're going to create, I don't want a popover, I just want a button. And I think this button, we'll just make it like a big button like this, and we'll just say return to menu. And we're just going to tell it to do a single step, and the single step is just go to, and we want it to go to layout. And the layout that we want it to go to is going to be mama. Now we can change that. You know, we can do all kinds of things. So if we want to go into our inspector, we can change the style and the appearance of the button and make it different. If we want to change it to 14, 16, or 18, so that it's very visible, that's probably a good thing. And change the color probably to a lighter yellow. You know me, I like things to just pop, like stick right out there and say, bang, here I am. So this button now, we can put it down here in the corner. People can see it. And we are going to do a lot of dressing up. This is not going to look this way when we're done. Guys, just do as I'm doing and you'll see how much different, how much better this is going to look. But we want people to know exactly. So if we exit the layout, we want people to know exactly. So if you go back and you say, you know, I want to order this item again. Let me see what my order is. I don't know why it didn't order it again. Return to menu, order item, order item. Is it, how many records are there? Just one. Show all. Just one. I don't know why it is. It's not. Oh, because it's going to one. It's going to. Never mind. I figured. That's so funny. Okay, so in the script, we tell it to go to the first portal row. We need to tell it to go to the last portal row. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, so if we edit the layout, we manage our scripts. Pretty simple, right? Let's just go to here where it says, go to portal row first. Go to portal row last. Control S will save it. And we can close it. And we can exit our layout. Return to the main menu. And now if we order another one, we will see it ordered twice. See how simple that was? It was pretty super simple. So now that, but you guys are probably saying, how does the kitchen know how to make this product? How does the kitchen know what's being ordered? Well, that is on that. We're going to show you guys how to do that on the next episode. But for now, what I wanted to show you is how do we get the product from point A to point B. Now, if you remember correctly, the next one was the spaghetti, right? Or what was the only other one that we had? Let's go to our inventory, and we had, let's show all. So we had the meat sandwich, and that was 101, right? So let's go out, let's get out of here. Let's go to our mama, and we'll go into here. We have to go actually edit the layout. And if we double click on this and we tell it to perform a script, master menu 1, and we type in 1001 as our script parameter. That's a big thing, guys. That's a big thing as a script parameter. And if you want to, you can change it to handover menu, whatever. I mean, that's fine. For this purpose, it's all fingers, so it's not going to change anything. Only for that, like, as you guys just saw. So if I do this, and I go into my options, and I change it to handover cursor, now when I am over this button, it will change it to a little hand. But only while I'm on my computer. See, it won't do it any other way. And so if you're just using your finger to push the buttons, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change it. So at this point, we can order this item, and we can go back to here and see my order. And there it is, the meat sandwich at $29.95 added to our selection. So voila, there we are. We made it. And we can return to our menu. Now, remember, if you have a lot of these see my order buttons, right? And you do, see my order, see my order, see my order. Maybe the best thing to do would be to do this, to go into edit layout, manage scripts. We'll create a new script, and this new script will be, we're just going to call it GT because, as I always say, go to, and then we'll call it order 1. Order 1. And what we want it to do, and it can be really super simple. We just want it to go to layout, and the layout we want it to go to is the order invoice. And halt script. You don't have to do halt script, but you can do halt script. I always do halt script. I don't know. It just works for me, so that's good. We'll press OK, and we'll close it. Now when we go into this particular thing, we can go here, and we can just say, instead of doing that, I want you to perform a script, and I want you to go to order 1 and call it OK. Change to hand over cursor. Change cursor to hand over button. Double click this one, tell it to perform a script. So you can see where this is going. It's just a lot easier to do when you do it this way. So now all of those buttons, we have 10 or 15 or 20 of them, all on the same page or the different page. Like if we went to lunch foods, let's go here, let's go to lunch foods. These buttons don't do anything, right? Well, pretty simple. Edit layout, double click, see my order, tell it to perform a script, and that script is going to be go to order, and we'll just say okay and okay. So it does make life a lot easier that way. You guys can notice the yellow line. It's because I had my thing clicked. My line parameter, the thing to show your lines was turned on, and but I now have it turned off. So if you guys have any questions at all on how to do this, just let me know. I will definitely work with you. We are going to go back to dinner foods because we are starving to death and we really want to see what we ordered. And by goodness, honey, you spent that kind of money. One thing that we do want to do on the next video, though, is on the next video we're going to show you how to do. We're going to do some fancy things down on the bottom here, suggested tips. So in case you guys might want to add that to your feature, you can. You don't have to, but we can do what's called suggested tips and kind of flower it up, make it pretty down on the bottom. You know, a 15 or 20 or 25% tip. Sometimes that's a bad thing. Sometimes that's a good thing for the customer because customers don't know how much to tip. They're like, oh, I really want to leave them a tip. They were really great. And, you know, I want to leave them how much do I leave them? And they don't have the calculator in their brain to figure out how much it is. So what you can do is we can add buttons and make them calculations, or not buttons, but we can add little things. And if you wanted to, you could actually add buttons that would add it to the grand total. You can just put in like a button, you know, add 15% tip, and it would just take this number and multiply it by, you know, the 15% tip. So you could do that. There's a lot of different things you can do as well. So just let me know what you want to see. But for now, we're just going to keep it super, super, super simple and super, super straightforward. And we'll just go with that. But one thing that we do want to do on the next video, the very next video that we want to do, is we want to teach you guys how to show your kitchen what to make next and what they need to do when they're done with it so that it clears it. Big thing, big thing. We want to be able to make sure that when the kitchen has done their stuff, then it's ready to go and the order can be completed. All right, well, until next time, guys, thank you very much for watching. You guys are absolutely amazing. I appreciate you guys being here. Random Llama, well, I don't have any company or like have a Minecraft picture, but I was just looking around, Double D. Hey, thank you very much, Random Llama. I appreciate you being here. But anyway, until next time, guys, thanks everybody for watching me. You guys have been a hoot. Wonderful today. I do appreciate you guys watching me. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, just let me know, and I will do that. Until next time, don't forget, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. There's all kinds of things we're going to be teaching you guys in the future, and it would be good if you followed and you knew what was going on. So until next time, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.